Coming up on the Weekend Review, 2 big murder trials in Metro Atlanta were in court, and one won't be in the Metro much longer. And utility regulators made a move that could lower the price consumers pay for electricity. Plus, how a national campaign got the attention of lawmakers and helped free a multiple amputee detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Georgia. This is WABE's Week in Review, the show where we look back the last few days of stories from your WABE news team. I'm Alex Helmick, managing editor of WABE News. And we start with today the high-profile capital murder trial in Fulton County tied to the mass shooting and killing of several Asian women at Atlanta area spas half a decade ago. It has stalled again. As WABE's Shemaine Cruz reported, this time it's due to an attorney shortage.
After 4 months of there being no movement in the case, Fulton County Chief Superior Court Judge Ural Glanville said at a hearing on Thursday that they remain at an impasse. Nothing can be done until the defendant, Robert Aaron Long, has 2 attorneys representing him. One of Long's public defenders told Glanville that she struggled to get another qualified attorney to work with her on the case after her previous co-counsel left their office in January. It's alleged that several other attorneys have also left since then. Glanville said that at this point, it's unclear whether the case is even in a position to be tried. He scheduled a meeting on June 1st with representatives of the Public Defender's Office to resolve the issue. Shemaine Cruz, WABE News, the Fulton County Courthouse.
Meantime, the trial for alleged Apalachee High School shooter Colton Gray will take place outside of Barrow County at the request of the defense. The top option is Columbia County near Augusta to avoid Atlanta media. The September 2024 shooting left 4 people dead and others injured. The relocation decision came at Gray's status hearing this week, his first time in court since his father, Colin, was found criminally responsible in connection to the shooting. Switching gears now, Georgia's Democratic nominee for governor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, says she'll be able to work with a likely Republican-controlled legislature if she's elected. Bottoms told WABE's Morning Edition this week that issues like Medicaid expansion and hospital closures would be her first priority, and that's an issue that's impacting rural, Republican-heavy communities.
The fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene has started talking about health care, that lets you know that this is not just an issue that Democrats are concerned about. Rural hospitals across the state have closed, 9 to date. It's anticipated 10 more may close.
Healthcare Executive Rick Jackson and Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones are battling in a June 16th runoff for the Republican nomination. The winner will face Bottoms in November. You can hear the full interview with Bottoms at WABE.org. Neither Jackson nor Jones has accepted WABE's many requests for an interview. The Georgia Public Service Commission has approved a deal to lower the rate Georgia Power charges for fuel. The change is expected to reduce power bills for millions of Georgians. Emily Jones told us about it.
The commission was considering 2 issues at the same time: the cost of the fuel that runs power plants and the cost of cleaning up from Hurricane Helene. Under state law, electric company customers pay for both. The fuel rate went down enough to offset the hurricane costs and then some. So the monthly bill for a typical 1,000 kilowatt hour customer will go down by about $4 on average. The deal approved by the commission also calls for an investigation into how large customers like data centers pay for fuel to make sure costs aren't getting shifted onto ordinary customers. The changes to power bills go into effect June 1st, the same day Georgia Power's higher summer electricity rate kicks in. Emily Jones, WABE News.
Well, Atlanta's Department of Watershed Management is facing tough questions about how it handled recent emergency events, including flash flooding, a fish kill, and a significant water outage. WABE's Raul Bali told us more.
During a city council committee meeting, member Liliana Bakhtiari focused many of her questions on public notification.
Why on earth has communications not been the main and top priority since the last outage 2 years ago, almost to the day? Almost to the day.
Watershed Management Commissioner Greg Irely says they don't have the ability to notify specific customers about a specific outage.
Presently, we don't have that. We don't have addresses and phone numbers in any population that I think we have about 6% where we can line that up.
Irely says they're piloting a new notification system. As for last Wednesday's flash flooding, Irely says there was no forecast for heavy rain.
We go into a posture that is different when there is a 40% chance of 1 inch or greater rainfall. So a lot of things happen when we get that level of forecast, both at our wet weather facilities as well as with our field teams to go out and look at hotspot areas.
Irely says at this point there is no data to connect the system to last week's fish kill in the Chattahoochee River. Raul Valley, WABE News.
2 Georgia students finished top 30 in the 2026 Scripps National Spelling Bee this week, and Julian Virgin told us about it.
This week, 247 spellers from across the country competed in the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. Columbia County 7th grader Shreya Lakumseti finished tied for 30th, and representing Georgia in the top 9.
Our next finalist, Sarv Darvane.
The Dunwoody 6th grader finished 3rd for the 2nd consecutive year. He came in 22nd in 2024. Here's head judge Mary Brooks.
Sarv, what incredible memories you've made in these 3 years, and you're not done. We know that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The 12-year-old Darvane still has 2 years of eligibility remaining in the competition. Julian Virgin, WABE News.
You're listening to WABE's Week in Review with me, Alex Helmick. Mental health conditions are a leading cause of pregnancy complications in Georgia. The risks are even higher for women veterans who've experienced post-traumatic stress disorder. That's according to the Department of Veterans Affairs. And as WABE's Jess Mado reported, military sexual trauma is a common cause of PTSD. A note to listeners, this story contains references to suicide.
Arthurine Williams Wright got her first taste of military experience in college. It was the 70s. Military recruiters signed her and some classmates up for ROTC.
I attended a historical black college, and they were looking for African Americans to join ROTC.
Relaxing on the couch in her Stone Mountain living room, Williams Wright says she excelled in campus ROTC and continued her training after college near Washington, D.C. in a program for officers in the Army Corps of Engineers.
As a 21 Bravo combat engineer, 21 Alpha, studying with engineers from West Point.
That's where the abuse started. Williams Wright was the only black woman in the program.
I went into training in 1978. The men were not embracing women, particularly black, at the time.
It began, she says, with verbal abuse, racist and misogynistic insults, and unwanted touching. She says her peers and supervisors were trying to intimidate her into dropping out. Despite that, Williams Wright did well academically. She went on to command an engineer company, deploying around the world for nearly 15 years, including to the Middle East during the first Gulf War. Meanwhile, the abuse only escalated.
Sexually assaulted. There were times that I really felt like checking out. I felt like committing suicide.
The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs calls what Williams Wright experienced military sexual trauma. VA stats show it's common. Of those screened, 1 in 50 men and 1 in 3 women.
It can be very long-term pain and human suffering that result from this.
Kayla Williams is Senior Policy Advisor at the Vet Voice Foundation and former director of the VA Center for Women Veterans. She says the military has made efforts to better address military sexual trauma and make it easier for service members to report. But Williams, who also contributed to a Biden-era Department of Defense report on sexual assault, says it remains an issue.
When your workplace is the military, it's an all-consuming environment. which is one of the reasons that military sexual trauma is so highly predictive of post-traumatic stress disorder.
And that, VA research shows, increases veterans' risks for pregnancy complications, including preeclampsia and gestational diabetes. Emory School of Medicine clinical psychologist Dr. Kelsey Sprang-Jones says it can also endanger babies.
Preterm birth, small gestational size, low birth weight, stillbirth, and longer stays in the hospital and NICUs.
That's what happened to Georgia Army Corps of Engineers veteran Arthurine Williams Wright.
I had 2 premature children because there was so much stress. The first child, my husband basically took care of him. Apparently I had postpartum depression. You never heard of that in military active duty. I couldn't care for him.
Her living room is decorated with photos and mementos from her Army service, and her husband's. He's a Vietnam veteran. Williams Wright had hoped to continue in the military until she was ready to retire. But she says after her sexual assaults and commanders passing her over for promotions, she had a change of heart.
My career was absolutely derailed.
After completing a deployment to Desert Storm, she decided to get out. But it wasn't until more than a decade ago that her healing journey really started, with the help of the VA, her deep Christian faith and therapy, and support groups with other women veterans.
The more I have experienced others who have gone through sexual trauma, rapes, assaults, whatever level, then I feeling free to just share that and hope that I will help someone else along the way to say it's okay.
Life feels different today. Her healing is continuing. She's a survivor. Jess Mador, WABE News.
The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available by calling or texting 988. This reporting is sponsored by the Rosalind Carter Fellowships for Mental Health Journalism. And finally today, Rodney Taylor is out of immigration detention. He's the Lawrenceville man who rose to national attention when members of Congress flagged how the double amputee was crawling across filthy bathroom floors to shower while he was detained. WABE's Emily Wu Pearson spent time with his family, who ran a national campaign to get him out.
All right, husband and wife.
Mildred Taylor commands attention under a pavilion in the early heat of spring. She's emceeing her sister-in-law's wedding reception, wrapping up days of celebration as per Liberian tradition. The bride is Mildred's husband, Rodney Taylor's sister.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Mr. and Mrs. Jones.
Rodney called in from Stewart Detention Center in Lumpkin, Georgia, where he had been detained for more than a year.
It's bittersweet. It's sad I can't be there, but I'm happy for her. I'm happy y'all over there enjoying all the festivities.
He should be here right now. Seriously, he should be here with his family.
Rodney's mom, Leona Dickerson Williams, said there were moments throughout the wedding weekend the family spent crying, missing Rodney.
And Mildred has been, she has been a beacon in our household. She has been the pillar.
Mildred's day-to-day had been laser-focused on keeping her family moving forward since her husband Rodney was detained in February 2025. But she was also still a little stuck in the past. This spring, Christmas decor was hanging around their house from last December. That was intentional, Mildred said. She didn't want Rodney to miss the Snoopy-themed Christmas he'd admired over a video call last year.
And I showed him. He was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I wish I was there. I said, well, we're not taking it down until you come home.
Rodney came to the U.S. on a medical visa when he was 2 years old from Liberia through the Shriners Organization to receive treatment for deformities in his limbs. Today, he uses 2 prosthetic legs and is missing 3 fingers on his right hand. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested him based on a burglary conviction from when he was a teen, even though the state of Georgia pardoned him for it in 2010. He and Mildred have 5 kids living at home. They were taking their 2 elementary-age daughters to school before Mildred dropped Rodney off at the barbershop where he worked when ICE arrested him.
When Rodney first got detained, the kids' school teachers kept calling. Why the kids would cry and cry. They had different crying spells. They were sad.
She single-parented on one income while Rodney was in detention. He checked in on her during their daily phone calls.
I was a kid. The girls get to school on time this morning.
Yeah, they did. Everybody got to school on time.
A combination of health issues and Rodney's prolonged detention spurred Mildred to leave her job and take up consulting and part-time work with immigrant advocacy organizations. She spoke at the Georgia Capitol and with members of U.S. Congress who advocated for Rodney to the Department of Homeland Security. She said she knows she's in a position of privilege because she's a born U.S. citizen and feels like she can speak out. She's become a resource for other wives in similar situations.
This type of work is not for the faint of heart. You have to be fearless, bold, and have the audacity. I have the audacity.
And you have to have faith that what you're doing will pay off. Rodney was suddenly released earlier this month after more than a year in detention.
The first question I have to ask is, Mildred, did you keep the Snoopy decorations up?
I did.
Rodney, did you get, and you got to see all the Snoopy decorations?
Oh yes. Yes. Well, we got pictures from the Christmas tree and everything.
As if he was here.
Yeah. So it threw a lot of people off.
Yeah, I am justified. I'm satisfied. We could take it down now.
Rodney's immigration status is still pending. He wears a wrist monitor and has frequent check-ins with ICE. The couple plans to build on the national momentum from Rodney's case to help other disabled people get out of ICE detention. And as a family, the Taylors are rebuilding. Emily Wu Pearson, WABE News.
My thanks to the WABE News team for all the great work. You can find more at WABE.org. I'm Alex Helmick. Thank you for supporting WABE News and listening to The Week in Review.